Hello, welcome back to Broken Electronics. I'm Lee, and I'm going to show you a computer that I just got. A Powerbook G3. And it's, not this one. This is a Wall Street PDQ. We saw this in an earlier video. Much better. We're going to look at this one. This is a Pismo. And to my mind, this is Apple's first modern notebook computer. Now, we're going to compare these two a little bit, and maybe I'll explain to you why I think that's true. If you're interested in that, please stay tuned. Alright, here are the two side by side. And I think you can get the picture that the Pismo, which is on the right, is noticeably slimmer, although you wouldn't call them slim by modern standards, than is the Wall Street PDQ on the left. And that difference in the thickness of the machine translates into a weight difference. This Wall Street is amazingly heavy, whereas the Pismo, by comparison, is certainly more manageable. All right. Now, the Wall Street does have two PC card slots, which is already expansion possibility, and that, in fact, is where most of the expansion would be on these. We've got this handy-dandy, that's where the modem is hidden, built-in modem. Now, ordinarily here you would see the battery. Now, I was using, ordinarily here you would see the battery. Now, I was using this machine to create floppy disks for that project of installing macOS 8.0 on 27 floppy disks. You can check out that video if you want. So I took the battery out, which is dead anyway, and put the floppy disk drive in, and I ended up getting a CD for it. Oh no, actually this one came with a CD drive, and that is in the computer on the opposite bay. We'll see that in a minute. Here on the same side in the Pismo, they cut it down to one PC slot. And here we have the battery. Oh! Huh. I pressed the button and it lit up. I think you saw that. I'm a little surprised, to tell you the truth. Huh. Okay. I'll flip around and look at the other side now. Yes, so the CD drive has to go in this bay. You can put another battery in there. You can put the floppy drive in there. But the CD drive can only fit here as opposed to the other side. And then we have nothing else other than the Kensington lock right here. All right, turning our attention here, so maybe shed a little light on this. We have the expansion bay. That is the DVD drive, which does come out. And again, you can take the battery out of this as well and put in a floppy drive. You can put two batteries in, which was quite common on the go, since the one battery life was not much. People would often carry two batteries even if they weren't using both bays, because you could put the computer to sleep, swap out batteries, and keep right on going then. All right. And yes, Kensington lock. All right, we're going to take a look now at the back I/O, which to me is where it gets interesting. Now, on the Wall Street, you've got audio out, audio in, or maybe it's the other way around, I can't really see. That's the power. Now we look here. We've got an ADB port, Apple Desktop Bus, so you could plug in an Apple mouse and keyboard in that traditional connector. This is the last notebook that actually came with an ADB port. And then here, this similar looking connector is where you could put in an external modem if you had a more powerful modem than the built-in one that you wanted to use. Certainly if you're docking this at home, that might be a useful thing. All right. Here's our Ethernet port. Now, this is SCSI port, a laptop SCSI port. This was not the last laptop to come with a SCSI port. Actually, the Lombard, which is in between the two, had one. And you've got, here is S-Video, which would be a common way of connecting it perhaps to a television set. Very useful for presentations. And a standard VGA connection for an external monitor. All right. Now, let's... Same thing, there's a door there. We have power. Audio in, audio out are inside the door here. We have the first time USB 1.1 on a notebook. The predecessor to this machine, the Lombard, which I mentioned earlier, looks very, very similar to this. It also had USB 1.1. Your Ethernet port. And here's where this machine gets interesting. 2 Firewire 400 ports. We can finally communicate via Firewire. That was not true on the Wall Street PDQ. It was not true in the Lombard. Although you could add PC cards later on that would, in fact, add Firewire capability. All right. And we have, again, the S-Video out. Again, external monitor connection VGA. And you do still get the phone jack here. All right, we'll close those up. But yes, the combination of having USB and Firewire on board, to my mind, makes this the first generation of truly modern Apple notebook computers. All right, here we have opened up the Wall Street and small trackpad, click buttons here, black keys. The keyboard's actually very functional. It's quite easy to work on. You got your power switch here, display control switches here. All right. Now, one difference that leaps out at you, of course, is the keyboard itself. This keyboard was known as the bronze keyboard. It actually was introduced in the Lombard. The Lombard and the Pismo look very similar to one another, but the Pismo did have a much faster logic board inside and generally more advanced in every way. Now I wonder, son of a gun. I was beginning to think maybe that light on the battery was a fluke or deceptive, but well, we're booting into OS 10. I'll be darned. I would not have expected this machine to actually have a functional battery. I have no idea how long it's going to last, but that's pretty cool. Well, we at least have to see what it's going to boot into. If the battery lasts long enough for it to actually boot. And it spins and spins and spins. But you know, the sensible thing is going to be for me to get this set up and get the camera put in the tripod so we can actually take a better look. So we shall do that. Stay tuned. Well, unsurprisingly, it just started to boot up when it put itself into sleep mode due to very low battery. But then again, I'm awfully surprised there was any charge left in the thing at all. It's currently charging. It's up to 3%. And we'll see what kind of life we get out of it. Any time that we get is a bonus. All right. Well, let's pop up here too about this Mac. And we see, okay, 10.2 Jaguar. Okay. 576 megabytes of RAM. This should hold up to a gig. So that's certainly an upgrade to be thinking about. 400 megahertz PowerPC G3. So it's actually the lower spec of the two Pismos. The higher spec one had a 500 megahertz G3. Processors are upgradable, but of course that's kind of touchy. You've got to find the appropriate upgrade to put into it. All right. More info, which is any day now. Yeah, the old OS 9 style system profiler. Plain old 10.2. So it has not been upgraded at all. These should run Tiger. And of course dual boot into OS 9 as well. All right. Not too much to see there. Let's look in devices and volumes. All right, 2 USB buses, 1.0, AGP, that's the graphics is AGP, and then there's the single PC card slot. No Firewire devices, of course, because nothing is plugged in. All right, so we have the hard drive. All right, so basically 7 gig. They came standard with 6. One doesn't know if that's an upgrade. In fact, it's called Mac HD. Somebody's been doing something to this. Now, I'm suspecting this is just a clean install. And whoever did the install got lazy rather than typing out Macintosh all the way. Not telling us any other information about the drive. And it does indicate we've got a DVD, which is cool. Yeah, DVD-ROM, so we should be able to read DVDs and CDs. That will make it easier when the time comes to... Oh, no! I was going to say it'll make it easier when the time comes to install Tiger, but it's got Firewire. Oh, lordy, how nice that is. Okay, I think that's all we need to look at in System Profiler. And we can get out of about this Mac too. Take a look down here in System Preferences. All right, accounts. Ha 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 ha! Yep, John Apple. Well, at least whoever did this clean install to set it up had a sense of humor. All right. And what else we'll look at in here? My account. Yeah, I don't really remember seeing that my account thing. All right. Let's take a look at displays. Of course, the built-in display. That 1024 by 768. That's decent, certainly. And the brightness is all the way up. And of course, it can use an external monitor, which is certainly good to know. But I mean, the screen is certainly very, very viewable as it is. Okay. Well, seems to have airport. Turn it on. I'm going to be curious to see. Let's go to the home guest network. And bingo! It popped right on. We have Wi-Fi. Oh, isn't that a wonderful thing? Not that it's a big hassle to connect the Ethernet, and I generally will, just because you can get much faster connections than you can through these. I think these old Wi-Fi cards were 802.11b, and Wi-Fi's come a long way since then. All right, applications is going to tell us something. All right, Acrobat Reader. I'm pretty sure Acrobat Reader came standard, although I think iMovie came standard too. iPhoto, iTunes, all very old versions, of course. Sherlock was still the browser. It's just pre-Spotlight days. Oh, now, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's got Acrobat Reader, no preview. I had forgotten that. All right, our normal things. We've got system profiler, CPU monitor. Actually, there are several monitors in a disk copy, which of course in later versions would be folded into disk utility. Grab is there for screenshots. Yeah, it's a little interesting to see how. Oh, Stuff and Expander. That's right. They shipped these things by default with Stuff and Expander. I want to wait for Apple's built-in tools later on. All right. And the other thing we noticed, we've got the OS X system folder. There's no OS 9 system folder. So, yeah, and this machine would definitely have had OS 9 on it. Did it come? I think it came with 9.1. I may be wrong on that, kids. This machine dates back to 2001. It would have had OS 10.0 on it, probably. Well, maybe not. It might have been even a little bit before. But yeah, whoever was preparing this for sale was clearly using the disk that he had available, and that's why we have OS 10 on it. All right, well, there's an overview of the machine. Now, what are we going to do with this? The RAM upgrade is obvious, and as I recall, I had a Pismo back pre-fire, and I loved that machine. It was a very capable machine. I had it running Tiger. As I recall, getting inside it is not super difficult, and getting to the RAM should not be a big issue. I suppose the other big thing with this would be storage. It's got that minuscule drive, so it's going to want 128 gig drive. And if anybody wonders, I'm always putting SSDs in. Why not just put hard drives in these old machines? Well, part of that, with these really old hard drives, you never know just when they might fail. And being IDE connections, nobody makes IDE hard drives anymore. So, if you can get used IDE drives, but Lord knows if you're actually improving your situation at all by doing so, other than larger storage. But larger storage that's going to fail, what good is that doing us? We're up to 8% in the battery. Yeah, I'm going to leave it on, leave it charging. So we'll definitely do those two things anyway. Get the maximum 1 gigabyte of RAM in there. Get the 128 gig SSD in there. It is like so many of these older machines, it won't address a drive larger than that. It can, though, use external Firewire. So that's certainly an option. And we'll obviously we got to put OS 9 on it. Since it'll boot into OS 9, we got to have OS 9. And yeah, I would think Tiger definitely. It's interesting to look at the older systems, but no, definitely Tiger. Just because with Tiger, you've got a chance at communicating with the outside world. You can put 10.4 Fox on. There is a 10.4 Fox version for G3s. You can put that on there. You can put 10.4 Bird on there and deal with your email. Yeah, I am going to be really interested in seeing if there's any kind of real battery life in this or not. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at the machine. I'm going to have to get some things in terms of doing the upgrade. But, I think OWC's shipping times have improved a little bit, so maybe it won't be too long before we see some more on this. But anyway, I think we have reached the end of this video. So, of course, be good to other people. They deserve it. Be good to yourselves. You deserve it. Take very, very good and careful care. And I keep saying in these difficult times, I hope that reasonably soon the times won't be so difficult. But take good and careful care anyway. I'm Lee, and this has been Broken Electronics.